Good morning, everyone. So, on today's episode of Thoughts on Education, we have with us Mr. Rakesh Gupta, who is the founder of Culinary Institute of India and Center for Information Technology and Management Sciences, Durgapur. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to everybody, and most welcome to this little conversation that we're going to have.
Yes, sir. Sir, before we start with the interview, can I ask you to introduce yourself in some words?
Well, I'm a academician, simple word, academician. But my basic introduction could be Chef Rakesh, who is a sports lover and a food fanatic.
Yes.
And Abhi, recently, just one more thing I'd like to add is I have been nominated to the board of Asian Chamber of Hospitality, which is a conglomerate group of 24 countries. And I have been nominated. I'm the third person to be nominated in the board of Thangam Philip, honorary Thangam Philip board for promotion of culinary studies in Northeast state. So it's going to be a real big thing in near future. We are trying to provide impetus in culinary education to the entire remote areas of India to promote the skill.
Yes, sir. So, sir, I'll start with my questions. So, sir, my first question for you will be, being the founder, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
Leadership in one word should be encouraging.
Yes, sir.
Enticing. Engrossing.
Yes, sir.
Encouraging, enticing, engrossing to make your life exciting.
Yes, sir.
Simple.
Yes.
Somebody who can do this is a natural leader.
Yes, sir. Agreed with you. Sir, my second question is, the education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. So, sir, in your experience, what an inbound student can gain from studying here in your institute?
See, what you're telling me, I had a first-hand experience when
Yes, sir.
City and Guilds, one of the oldest university of world, it's
Yes,
the
sir.
UK, they are into skill-based, more than 2,000 titles. When they came into India, I was nominated into their board. I could see the clear difference and divide between education and skill-based program.
Yes,
We
sir.
are very wrong in terming these lot of professions, which is purely skill-based, as education. It's not education. It's skill-based training, basically.
Yes.
You train to be a manager. You can never be educated to be a manager.
Yes,
You
sir.
train to be a team leader. You cannot be educated to be a team leader. And that is the basic concept. Because फिर क्या होता है? You start evaluating students based on education program,
Yes.
mugging up some questions, writing a few things, but understanding nothing, knowing nothing. So
Yes, sir.
that was a big issue which could be seen differentiating the Indian education system with the Western education system, which is now being bridged very cleverly, very skillfully by the present education environment. I'll say environment, not government, because environment has forced government to go on that path. The
Yes, sir.
realization has come late, but I think it has come.
Yes, sir. So, sir, what do you think should be the institute's top priority over the next 10 years?
See, first of all, priority-wise, we have to understand a student passes out and he becomes a part of our economic system. So
Yes, sir.
ultimately, there's a great divide between education system and being a part of economic system. Now, supposing I produce a chef or a hotel industry guy, and he is always thinking about, okay, I'm going to be a 5-star chef.
Yes.
He will be stuck in that parameter of reaching the top by missing many steps.
Yes, sir.
While he should progress with every basics of his industry, all the skills needed to be. Secondly, he should be, as educator, I find next 10 years are very important for the institutions to understand where do my students fit into the present economic macro and micro, system.
Yes, sir.
So we got to be very clever in putting those ideas into the student. Problem kya hai? Now, in the 7, 8 years back, 10 years back, a lot of hotel management, today they are leading name, they started offering free laptop.
Yes,
Engineering
sir.
student getting free laptop, I can understand. MBA student getting free laptop, I can understand. What does a chef or a hotel student do with a free laptop?
Yes,
He
sir.
has to work. The first and foremost is he has to actually stand and deliver for 12 hours.
Yes.
Stand and deliver. His brain should work like computer. His eyes should be observant enough like a camera, and his mind should be analytical like a manager. While his
Yes,
hands
sir.
are very skillfully doing the operational job.
Yes.
Example, cafe day. If you train a person, you know he is going to stand behind the counter for 12 hours.
Yes.
He should be smiling even at the end of the day. So you got to build that stamina into him while teaching the skill. You cannot make him sit on a table and teach the skill. So that is a basic operational skill.
Yes.
Second will come the economics part with the quantity training procedure. The education institutions sometimes forego the quantity training procedure, which leads to volume production and economic understanding of the economic environment, how to generate revenue. And the third and the last phase is understanding the business economics and surviving in a tough environment.
Yes.
Through decision-making process. So if a student is doing graduation in the final year, he should be able to understand the entire business gamut so that he becomes an automatic part of that as soon as he passes out. So
Yes,
who
sir.
does it? Who does it? It's the institution which does it.
Yes. Yes.
And that is where institutions have to come up, fill up the shoe and gap of these big voids that students face. You can check the rate of attrition or the dropouts. When your aspirations don't meet the real world, what's happening around, you drop out.
Yes, sir. There's a
You
huge
drop
percentage
out.
also.
So you got to be mentally prepared. Who does this preparation? The institution in the final year before the student moves up.
Yes, sir.
And that is where the education comes up. The institutions plays a major
And
role.
it's so important.
Their teachers, the trainers, I don't call them professors, readers and all. Their trainers should be smart enough. They should be trained enough to train their wards to be an automatic choice for the industry.
Yes.
You see, hotel management students, they pass out, they are being absorbed by all retail people. You go to any retail stores, the managers are hotel management for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years.
Yes, sir,
Now,
that's
where
true.
do they fit in? They fit in because the inventory management of a hotel is 1,000 times more complex than our inventory management of a departmental store.
Yes, sir.
So, ये वो एक natural instinct में आ जाता है and they become an automatic choice.
Yes, sir.
So this is where the role of educating people are.
Yes, sir. So speaking of roles, what do you think are your roles and responsibilities to the college and the students specifically?
Students are the fulcrum of the industry.
Yes, sir.
In terms of business, if a businessman is running a college, he should hear me out because I have been counseling a lot of college owners. Treat your student as a product.
Yes,
so
sir.
Even if I have a pen of say 100 rupees, the prime function of this pen is to write.
Yes.
Then it should be presentable enough. Like your phone, prime function of a phone is to receive and make a call. It's not to watch YouTube videos and movies and do chatting and all that. Fine, fantastic. But the prime function focus on the core of students' purpose of presence in your college. If you are trying to make him a management graduate, his mind should work like that. His hands should be skillful enough and his attitude should be sharp enough to adapt to the situation.
Yes, sir.
You may produce an engineer with a very specific goal of producing something which is a pre-designed, fabricated production lineup. He can work like machines, but management education and skill-based education, the environment changes so drastically, adaptation and flexibility through depth of knowledge becomes very important.
Yes, sir.
Until unless you adapt and are flexible, you will not survive.
Yes, sir.
Then he blames who? He blames the college. He blames the education system.
The
So
industry.
we have to be wise enough to actually make a student our product. Focus on the student as a product, understand the industry's requirement of being adaptability and flexible, make him, groom him up to that standard, and grade him. For God's sake, grade him. Don't call a donkey a horse. First, you got to admit he is a horse, fine, make him run the race. But if he's a donkey, he is a load bearer thing. Place him accordingly into that particular segment of the industry where he feels successful, chances of getting successful. यही तो द्रोणाचार्य का काम था. किसी को भाला सिखाया, किसी को धनुष चलाना सिखाया, किसी को गदा चलाना सिखाया. अर्जुन को गदा चलाना नहीं सिखाया. ठीक है, अर्जुन को तीर चलाना सिखाया. So that is the work of Dronacharya. Be a present Dronacharya.
Yes, sir. So my next question is, what would you like people to know that they may not know about your institute from the outside?
I'll say we are a Gurukul.
Yes.
We are not a business house. First thing is, I'm a guru of my students. I can only introduce myself. A captain is as good as his team.
Yes.
Now, my team includes last 25 years, 700 professionals, out of which 200 are unit heads. So it's almost a ratio of 2.5 to 1.
Yes, sir.
General manager, unit heads and all. And COVID has made them, a lot of boys have become entrepreneurs. Some by choice, some by force, but they are really happy they became one. So I have a string of entrepreneurs who are giving employment to others. So I'll only say about our institution, if you want to groom into a future entrepreneur, you can be a chef with me, you can be a hotelier with me, you can be a management graduate doing BBA, MBA with me, but come down not to just get a job from here,
but to
you have to come down, accept my ways. I can guarantee that you would be an entrepreneur or a unit head in another 10 years. That's what Culinary Institute of India is all about.
Yes, sir. Sir, so my last question for the day is that, would you like to give any suggestions to the current youth and the aspiring students?
Yeah, I mean, they become big dreamer, a lot of quotations they are reading and a lot of people they listen. They only love to listen. They've forgotten the art of writing.
Yes, sir.
So what I can only say is, whatever you listen to, I am not saying you don't listen, you don't do these things. You do whatever you want, but devote 4 hours of or 2 hours of at least writing it down on a piece of page, whether you study something, you listen to something, or narrate it to somebody. Narrate the same thing to somebody. What was a pastime of our youth time? We used to time pass by quizzing each other. They love to get quizzed by a phone or YouTube or WhatsApp. But जो मजा बैठ के क्विज करने में है टीचर्स के साथ या स्टूडेंट्स के साथ, and that is what premier organizations, premium institutions like IIM, they're holding forte with project management, discussions, evaluations, classroom discussions, writing reports, understanding about business parameters and affecting your industry, developing the skill. Even writing is a skill.
Yes, sir.
But when are you going to write substantial enough when you have some substance and content in you? Because उसको फिर आप दोबारा देख सकते हो. So today's youth, you should focus and gather more information, but don't spend time with people who are negative.
Yes.
Discard them just like that.
Yes, sir.
Take care of your health. Take care of your health, number one. Number two, make sure that you spend time with right people, right friends who have positive objectives. Number three, plan for next 20 years. Think about what you want to do in life. If you are not sure, don't press yourself. spend time with the right kind of people, you will come to a conclusion today or tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
और फिर भी समझ में नहीं आता है, दिल को जो अच्छा लगता है उसके पीछे 1 साल 2 साल 3 साल दीजिए, आपको खुद समझ में आ जाएगा कहाँ जाना.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. That was a really great piece of advice. And I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and talking to us today.
It has been my pleasure, Yaman. I mean, you are one of the most beautiful smiles that you have, and your questions are really piercing questions and in-depth questions. You wanted to know something very simple. I hope I was simple enough.
Yes,
And by nature, I become complex at times.
So I'm sure our audience will find this interview very helpful.
I mean, I hope so. I'm able to make up my point.
Yes, sir.
And it's been a pleasure. Actually, this is the second or third interview with your group.
Yes, sir.
Last 2 years. And I have been making it a point to not to miss even other student counseling groups, whoever is asking for time.
Yes, sir.
Just not for the sake of my institution. मैंने hardly अपने institutions को बोला कि culinary में आओ पढ़ो, ऐसा कुछ बोला नहीं. For the sake of the students, being honest about my profession.
Yes.
They are so confused after this COVID parameter. The first thing is they become lazy. First advice is get out of your chair, walk for 5-6 kilometers, or enjoy a game or two. Then you start thinking.
Yes, sir. Exercise is also equally important to mentally stimulate us. Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you, sir.